Hey everyone, this is DayTraderRockStar, and this is the high probability watch list for the week of Christmas 2014. So that brings us up to Monday, December 22nd. It is Friday when we send this list out for the stock setting up for next week. And boy, what a week we've had. I don't even know where to begin. We got a big video for you. Well, a lot of stocks to go over, but good stocks going into next week that are streamed down and focused for you. And what I want to use the first part of the video in is because the setups this week, especially in the S&P, we can identify this, just a really good organized channel, and it was not much to look into it other than
Hacker says drop in oil prices will increase consumer spending, but will not be a sustained
Mr. Land on in the
increase.
background, because this is during the show. And you know what? Because part of this video goes out to non-members, the first part of it, I wanted to actually, just discuss some things. If you go to Day Trading Radio, last week, I put out a watch list. It goes out to everyone. And with that watch list, we usually do what is called a kind of a market radar thing.
VHC, Burnetix halted pending news. Victor Hotel Charlie. Halted pending news.
Well, that's going to be fun in a second. Anyway, the dashboard contains all the live squawky here, live news, of course, our two channels, and whoever's on the mic at the time, and the live trades and the charts and everything else that goes along with it. But last week we went into this, and I was saying here, Christmas rally approaching fast. And this was going into this past week. So what we had going into this past week was really just a textbook channel. And a channel that has been playing out, and I went over this last week's video, time and time again. If I just zoom out here on the ES, we've been trading the markets for years. And for the last 3 years...
TSLA Tesla.
I'm going to turn that down right now.
Report says Tesla battery
for the last 3 years, we've been focused on seeing a great trend moving up, a very bullish market, basically. And
MCD, McDonald's, Michael Charlie Delta,
we had
U.S.
nice
National Labor Relations Board
got from overbought to oversold.
Issues complaints against McDonald's for alleged labor violations by franchisees.
Which is really a
That's
flag.
in a filing, Michael Charlie Delta.
But it's just identical. We trade these parallel channels, perfect. We know where to get in on them, why to get in, how to combine the 60 and daily. So we usually get the best opportunities in these flags. So seeing a flag set up going into this week, identical to what we've been normally. Here's one. Go back to last December. There was even a nice little flag and a fast rotation here and a big explosion out on the 18th. So each one of these candles or each one of these flags also usually was accompanied by a nice reversal candle or big range bar that started off the rally out of that. Each one of them. And today or the other day we had it. And of course we got the follow through. And this continues to look like a healthy market. Stochastics were oversold on the daily. They oversold on the 60. I mean, it was. I even took my SPXU off, which was my hedge against my longs. That's how comfortable I was with this pattern to break out to the upside. We loaded up on the longs. Excuse me. We also loaded up on some oil and gas stocks, and the last 2 days have just been taking the profits into this push. So. Looking forward to giving you some new setups next week, but it's important to go over the stocks that we've been trading and why we've been trading them. So let's just start off with some of the profits we've been taking today on Friday. IBM has been, of course, you're going to know a lot of, the methodology here at Day Trading Radio. I use, multiple indicators, and I usually use a lot of trend lines and pattern recognition along with the stochastics overbought. So we wait for these things to time up. Especially on the stochastics and understanding the multiple time frames on the 60 and the daily, the underlying indicators of what it means when a pattern forms underneath a certain coil here or something like that. So all these here gives us little clues. So IBM did look really attractive down here as we broke down out of this, but we came down to this underlying trend line, an old trend line, and we got oversold on the daily and 60. So we started that position there. Probably right in this area. We also saw a little divergence. Well, not as much. We'll talk about divergence again, but we actually, just like this area. And boom, we got up to that 160 today. I mean, it was a fantastic trade. Any way you look at it, I think we're out of it now, but great trade. And the reason why, quality name, pulled back to a trend line. It was oversold daily 60. It was just You know, it fit all the criteria. DirecTV, you know. This one came right back to the 200 period moving average, right back to the support line, right back to this support line, oversold, oversold, oversold. I mean, you had to take it back here. You know, I forced myself just to get in, and look at the results from that. So it's just like anything else. And my analogy, lots of times I use is poker. You know, if you're a poker or card player, you bet when you have a great hand. And these are great hands that are given to you. And what we'd like to do here at Day Trading Radio is deliver those great hands to you each and every week. You know, so that's what we're going to continue to do this week. But we're going to also continue to look at what works and what doesn't work. Right now, it was the right move here. We got out of it today. Nice profit on that. HP. You know, this is what we call a channel within a channel. Very, very good. And this gives you an X marks the spot type of area, but combined with that coiled up stochastic. But the two channels here. And, you know, you get a little heat into this. But considering you look back here, the damage has been done on the stock off of that 110 level all the way back down to 60. This, you have to look at these levels. You have to. Last time it came here, a nice bounce, you know, based off of these pivots and this pivot. This really shows up in this underlying channel is even better. So as we got down to that level, it was just time to take that trade. And again, today we get out of it with a very nice profit. You know, just really. Whew. $3.22 on that one. So you know, we're just going to continue to focus on this type of setup. Now, the one thing I have to say, you know, lots of times I'll chart all these things in the HPS site. The HPS site automatically gives you the alerts when those setups come up. And thing was, this past week, the volume and the ranges, more like the ranges, have just been tremendous. So things have really chopped around. You know, it did break down a lot. You know, spiked down. I guess the strategy this past week, knowing that we were setting up, I didn't want to be in too deep on anything in case of like win, like WYNN. You know, like that trend line here that we were coming down to, but it did break down through it, and it moved. You know, from that trend line, basically 48 down to 30 something. You know, that was just about a 10-point move down. Normally, I'm not, you know, apt to take a 10-point move down. That happened fast and hard, but I had very small shares. So at the point down here, we actually doubled down. And bringing our cost average down, the next 2 days, man, we just blew back, and we actually pulled a profit out of this trade. But that was a harder trade. I mean, we don't normally want to hold into weakness, but, you know, we did have to, adjust, you know, kind of repair that trade a bit. And I'm not a big fan of repairing trades in that matter. I am a big fan of sticking to the game plan. But Wynn Resorts and the other casinos were getting hit really bad. So you just don't want to catch a falling knife. But the way the market runs, and you understand how the market usually reacts, and, you know, that one candlestick was looking really good. At that point, I felt we were in pretty good shape for two follow-through days. Today was the day to take it off. It's pulling back now, but hopefully everyone got out. And, you know, going forward, still has a lot of action in it, you know. So, you know, that was another great trade. And the PSX, the Baba here was a good trade. Alibaba was just a nice flag. So we started getting into it in the flag area. It did pop out. We took profits. And that was about it. I took it off. I just didn't feel 100% comfortable. Felt that the market rally should have brought a bigger move in Alibaba. So, and there was some, you know, share lockup expiration going on. So I just kind of felt a little uncomfortable on that. The PSX has been another golden one because, you know, what's the key common denominator here? A lot of these have these technical trend lines underneath it. Understanding pivot areas, the importance of how a candle forms, puts a lot of weight in on this point right here and this point here too. So this you know, might not be a typical channel line, it might not be a typical downward trend line, but because of this candle, because of this type of candle, this area becomes a very good level because it's combined here with an oversold level. Whenever we have an oversold stochastic and an underlying trend line, that's my 1-2 punch. Look for me to take that trade. Other things play out in this, the micromanaging of the trade, breaking it down to the 60-minute time frame, understanding you have a divergence happening, and now we are building off of this channel, so we have the pullback. So we got out here, got back in here, and then got out again today on the gap up. So we're sitting pretty here. You know, we know why we're getting in. We know how we're getting out, and less stress that way. Oh my God, Occidental Petroleum, OXY, I am back in that one again today, and it's still looking good. You know, the hourly is up there. This is one of my favorites because we're in a nice downward channel, and this will, again, be a little freebie out there for the YouTube land. What I would do on this is wait for that 60-minute to rotate. Even though I got back in it today, I understand, you know, I'm willing to ride this, you know, probably back down to 75-ish if it did want to get through there. But it seems pretty strong. Right now, I mean, we've tested that 20-period moving average. I wouldn't mind getting back up to 83 area, you know. So I think we have about another 2 points on this, and that's all I'm looking for. That'll be nice. And then some other ones here that we're going to continue to thing on. So Baba, Oxy, the Russian ETF, good scalp on this. Again, you had to buy into weakness on this. Bought into weakness down here near $13. We could see, you know, and took profits that day, but there was a beautiful follow-through day on that. And then yesterday it got knocked down a little and it's chopping around. But the trade was there a few days ago. That was just a scalp. Let's go right down the list. I'm just going right down the list. SPXU, again, I took that off. I actually did take it off for a loss because I was building an SPXU in a VIX position. The VIX we actually did well on. The SPXU has been holding a little longer, in case we got that event that really shook the market. But, you know, now I saw that candle, or actually that pattern, that pullback flag right before Christmas coming into the Santa Claus rally. I said, all right, we had a nice pop on SPXU. It didn't bring me back up to my original entry, so I did take a little loss on it. But happy to be out of that because look at the crater now. So that was it. But the VIX, on the other hand, we were all over the VIX. And the VIX is the other side of things. We actually spotted that divergence, which was like what we call a lane divergence, lower low, higher low. And that just gave us our entry, and it was off to the races on the VIX. We crushed the VIX last couple of weeks. Lululemon also, I mean, we could go down the list. It turned out to be a fantastic 2 weeks, even though the market has been scary, to say the least, over the last few days with the oil and gas and the reversals and the ranges we've been seeing. We've seen, you know, 30-point moves in a matter of you know, less than an hour. That's pretty intense. You know, here's the Lululemon flag breakout. We could go through so many others that had these great flags. You know, well, Oshkosh, just let you guys know, this is one on this week's list also. This was my best bet for last week. So going into this week, we picked up Oshkosh into this flag. And you can see, you know, we got the breakout, we got the follow-through, continue to get the follow-through, and we still have some good momentum here as it spreads. So I do expect this to get back up to the 200 and possibly through it on Oshkosh. And then, of course, Cabela's, another great one. And I actually expect this one to get up towards, what do I want to see on this? There's a trend line. Because we're so far away from that 200-period moving average, and we can zoom out here, there's a good trend line up here based off of these 3 pivots and these 2 pivots. This area was the correction, previous correction in November. So we broke down through those levels, but we regained those levels. And that was kind of a, you know, we take a look at, you know, when the market is selling off, there is maybe news out there or something that's really capitulating some stocks through trend lines and stuff. Those trend lines usually come back into play. You might bounce back into them and they'll actually come back. Either way, we're back inside this pattern. We have a gap up here. We have a 50-period moving average, and we have a, you know, that pivot area up here. These 2 pivots makes this beautiful channel line. So all these are going to be targets up here, and that's still not close to that 200. So if you're looking at some type of retracement to the 200, my guess is if you get anywhere near 54, that's fine, you know. So that's what we're looking for, $54 target on Cabela's going into next week, and I'm pretty happy with that. You know, and happy with the next bunch of setups that I'm going to show you right now. But going into next week, and you know, going into that lighter volume, typical Christmas week, I never really liked the week before Christmas. It's always about the week after Christmas and the Santa Claus rally. It's the last 5 days of the year, and the first 3 of January. Some people look at the first 2. And that's what we really traditionally call the Santa Claus rally. So seasonality, we have a big area coming up, so it should look good. The overall market here, the SPX, there's no doubt about it. Stochastics here pushing back up. We have that flag breakout. The last time we pulled back, we really ran. Look at these flag breakouts. There's a good reason to believe that we're actually going to make new highs coming up. But we're going to continue with the methodology and continue to watch the signals. Right now, looks pretty good. The hourly, of course, is a little extended. Today is a Friday. It's probably going to be a little more choppier, a little more, cautious into the close, and then maybe start. We'll see what kind of news comes out over the weekend to affect the markets. But other than that, technically speaking, we could see a rotation here on the 60, just pulling back a little and the trend continuing. Or we could actually see this continue. It seems it has that type of strength. It was a total fake out breakout, and I hope everyone was part of that, because you know what? I wasn't fooled. I was not fooled on the fake out breakout. Bought into that weakness. It ripped higher. Today we took profits. Next week's a new week, and we're going to be a little more focused next week because we want to give back those. We don't want to give back those profits. A lot of good stuff coming up. So I'm going to start it off now. And let me just say, next week it'll be harder to call. We do have a nice, bounce here. It wouldn't be bad to see a pullback here, but the market doesn't always do what most people want it to do. So, a further push higher is definitely not out of the question, and I'm almost leaning towards that. I'm almost leaning to a further move higher. So my bias is up a little. I did take a short today, and you'll see it on the HPS watch list for the members. You'll see that. And there's a couple of the shorts that I'm eyeballing, and we always have the SPXU and the VIX to play around with. But you know what? Radar tells me good shot to get some follow through. If we got a pullback, it's nothing any. I think people would be understanding of it, and you just don't want people to get too fanatical if we start breaking levels. I mean, we should start to pay attention to these levels. There is an underlying trend line. There's two really good pivots, so we will start paying attention to these things. And this is it has the appearance. Well, if I could drag this out a little bit more, right about here. It has the appearance of a little wedge pattern, So a couple of trend lines, targets up above us now. We can start focusing on. There's a 2100 mark up there, and there's some levels up above us. But we'll get to those beginning of next week. All right, so with that, I want to start the HPS watch list. There's a lot of good ones here, and we got a lot more stuff for you. And if you're interested in getting the watch list and everything that comes along with day trading radio, which right now you get a lot, just listening to the show, but you could get the commercials removed, and you could get this beautiful. We're just talking about some new things today, but here's the dashboard. This is part of the dashboard, which has the trade alert boxes. These are our trades going on here.
Here's you. How many? Well, to the day trading radio office there in Nyack, it would be the
chat
two
rooms. Futures chat room, crude chat room, options chat room.
And Johnny.
You just click on that, they pop right up. Got hundreds of traders in those. All right, and there's a lot of cool stuff here. Lots to go over. You know the site. If you haven't found the site and know about it, just do some research on YouTube. You'll find it.
All right, market back
so
up to the 63 level. This is a trend line there. Sort of a large channel that we started this morning.